Hey everyone, and welcome back to a new edition of Four Friends in a Book podcast. My name is Chris Colson, and I'm here with my friends Isaiah Tukes, Kimberly Lake, and Laria Reed. And again, we are Four Friends and a Book. Actually, with a exciting episode for you guys. We're doing the best of Four Friends in a Book. So some of our favorite moments, our highlights from our podcast, just kind of looking back and reflecting on where we've come from here on Four Friends in the Book. So hopefully you guys enjoy this special episode of Four Friends in the Book podcast. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Man, I mean, this cover art is like, yeah, first of all,
nailed it.
Awesome. But yeah, when we in this romance novel kind of genre for this month, just so many topics covered in this book. I mean, Larry just mentioned it: love. We're talking about death, marriage, friendship, mental health, depression, trauma, relationships, dating, like just so many different topics within this book, but it's centered around the two main characters, Yasmin and Josiah Wade. So kind of lovers that have kind of hit a rough patch and have gone through a divorce, but yet and still they have a business together. They run a restaurant. It's based out of Atlanta. They have two children, and now they're trying to figure out this post-marriage life, co-parenting, stepping into dating, still dealing with old traumas, still a desire or inkling of maybe wanting to be back together. So it's a lot of different things within this book. And like I said, I was actually surprised. The romance, really ain't my. I just can't really get jiggy with it, but it was interesting. It was interesting. So let's get into it. Let's unpack it. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Y'all know how we do it over here at Four Friends in the Book podcast. So you know what it is. What did you think about the book? And if you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it? And since Miss Laria Reed talking about love over here, I'm gonna come to you first and let you kick this review off before I Let Go by Miss Kennedy Ryan. What did you think about this book?
I loved the book. It was so lovey-dovey and realistic all at the same time. I like the way Kennedy, the author, let's talk about how great she wrote this book. I did it on Audible, listen to it, but the way she described certain scenes and certain things that were happening, I literally had visuals in my head of what was happening. And most of the time, I don't do that with books, but with this one, she was so descriptive in like what the person had on, the setting, what it felt like when she walked in and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So she did a great job with writing. I enjoyed the realistic fact of it because it's a lot of couples who go through death, having a business, trying to make it through the pandemic, trying to make it through different things. It's just, I enjoyed the book completely. I like the characters of the children and how she made them realistic. It just seemed like, and I keep using the word realistic, it just seemed like something that I could talk to somebody about, and I got a friend going through this now. You know what I'm saying? It just felt so real life. And I know we're going to talk about that, but I really want this to be a movie for real, for real. So yeah, it was good. Because I am, by the way, a Hallmark Channel Lifetime person. I can do that all day. So this is right up my alley. I loved it.
All right. So what's your rating?
Oh, my rating? I give it like, I would give it like a 9. I enjoyed it. I haven't given anybody a 10, I don't think. Except for Malcolm X. He always gets a 10. That's Bay. Look, that's Bay.
Your little husband.
Yeah, look, if y'all hadn't heard, go check back. What was that, season 1?
Yes.
Yeah, Laria.
Episode 2.
Yeah, she really, she got a little thing for Malcolm. Yeah.
I do. My kind of guy.
All right. So coming to my good brother, Mr. Tukes over here, man. Look, I don't know if you feel like I felt, this romance thing, it really wasn't kind of my forte. But what did you think about this book, man? What did you, how did you feel about it? How did it make you feel? And if you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, what would that be?
Oh gosh, I don't even want to answer this question. Well, honestly, this book had a lot of words, but not nearly enough words that I thought it was going to be about. It just seemed so wordy, and the story just went on, and I just knew my HBCU family, Josiah and Yasmin, was about to make these words come alive. Was just about to boss up in this book, but I was just so disappointed. The book synopsis was just made up, the stuff wasn't relevant at all. Like L'Oreal said, Kennedy Ryan. Now I cannot negate the fact that she was very descriptive of how she painted the scene. She actually made you feel that you was in the scene. But for the chapter, it just was not no relevance to me on my end. Like Chris said, I was into romance, but I can follow a story alone. But it just dragged. It was like one chapter, one just dragged on through the book. But overall, it was just like a great read. She was a great descriptor of what she did, but I was just ready to put this book down and just leave it down. And it's something that I probably won't ever pick up again. But overall, I rate this book up 4.
Ooh.
What? I said, he's ready to.
I think, yeah. So I think that might be the lowest rating we've had.
Oh,
ever.
We've got some books that were not as good as this one.
Okay, I understand, man. I understand. So
I tried. I promise I tried.
He's like, I tried.
Right. So we got a 9, we got a 4. Kimberly Lake, what did you think? Like, you following up after Isaiah on that one? I don't even know how you follow his yeah. But what did you think about this book, and what was your rating on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I'm gonna follow Maria. I'm gonna piggyback off of her. I thought the book was great. I too love love, so I love a good love story. And for me, what really sold the book, I listened to it on Audible. And the 2 voice actors that read the novel were really, really good. Like, they were acting for real.
Mm-hmm.
I went to look them up, sidebar, and they don't show their faces, apparently. I guess since they narrate a lot of books, they don't want people to associate, I guess, their face with the character. So all their pictures are not of their face or not at all. But anyway, I think the book was great. Like Maria said, I thought it was a realistic love story. I thought the characters and their personalities were realistic. Also, I thought just overall her writing made me feel like I was watching a movie. Like Maria said, I could see her in the closet with his shoes on, everything, the dog, everything she was describing, I just felt like I saw it. So I thought it was a great book. I would recommend it. I mean, look, it's a romance, so it's steamy. So, if you if you on sex scenes and all this stuff, there were plenty in the book.
Plenty.
So if you it might not this,
plenty.
This might not be for you, but he said
plenty.
It was. But overall, I thought it was a great book, and I would rate it. I always got to put points on stuff, so I would say 8.5.
Okay, so we got a 9, a 4, and an 8.5.
I'm ready to hear you, Chris. Break it home.
So, as I opened the show up and said earlier, I wasn't really looking forward to reading a romance novel. Look, as we talked about many times before, your boy love history. I love autobiographies. I love just kind of the realism of expression in the book format. But honestly, I was pleasantly surprised by this book. I think the difference might have been I too listen on Audible.
Okay.
And like Kim mentioned, the narrators on there, man, they really brought the characters to life. I mean, the voices, just the tones they were using, just the characters. It really, like L'Oreal mentioned, I really visualized this this book, and so maybe that might have been the difference because I listened on Audible as well, and it was good, man. I was pleasantly surprised. It was relatable. I think a lot of the topics in the conversations or things that were going on in the book are things that we can all relate to, or personally, or know someone that may have gone through those things. So, like Kim mentioned, it's a romance novel. So yeah, you got the love making, the sex scenes, and all that stuff. It wasn't really my thing, but it was well written. It wasn't too over the top. I understand why y'all women love these romance novels. The words getting very descriptive. Y'all, right. Yeah, but I did. I enjoyed the book. It was good. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it an 8. It was good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the characters really had me drawn in. Josiah and Yasmin, Deja and Kasim, even the dog Otis, he was showing up in the book. So I really loved it. Look, the character Hendrix was wild. So good book, good character development, good expression, and like I said, definitely. If you guys haven't read it and want to kind of hear a good, I guess, expression of it, the Audible version is awesome. So check that out also. So yeah, I give it an 8. So we got a 9, a 4, an 8.5, and an 8. So we got that one little outlier here. He was yeah. I understand though, man.
And maybe I should have listened to it because the chapters just was not doing it for me as I was reading. I'm like, what y'all do for fun besides what y'all be doing? What y'all do for fun? What are depths in the conversation skills? Come on, buddy.
We don't talk about it. We get it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's that romance part where you gotta have that strong presence of love within the book. So okay. Again, we kind of talked about it and discussed it. This is really just a letter to his son, really conveying kind of life lessons, things that he's learned. Ta-Nehisi's just learned through his process of just development, growth as a man within this country. Like I say, he touches on his childhood experience growing up in Baltimore, then going to Howard, getting into journalism, traveling, all kind of things that really just are kind of brought out through this book. So really want to get you guys' thoughts and opinion on this because he really just, again, touches on his childhood and experience that he's had. Did you find any, I guess, kind of parallels or even similarities that you identify with through his story that you can really relate to your own life story as you're reading this book, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates? And I'm gonna come to Laria on this question. Did you find any parallels or similarities, or did you identify with anything within his story that really stood out to you as you were reading this book or listening to this book?
Okay, well, yeah. I think there's a talk I think that a lot of Black parents have with their children that a lot of other races don't have to have. And I remember even being younger and hearing different stories from my parents or overhearing things that they went through. And I was like, my friends wouldn't treat me like that. Like, what? Like, white people would do you like that? Like, I have white friends and they don't treat me like that. And for the majority of my life, I have had white friends who have not treated me any different than the Black friends that I had. But it was just so difficult for me to receive that until I got to, I'll never forget, I think I was in first grade, and a little girl was like, "Do you put grease in your hair? Black girls put grease in their hair." And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, yeah, that was when we was using jam. If you're black, you're a black girl, you know what I'm talking about? We used to do the French rolls and all that. Yeah, that spritz, had that jam. We used to have that's what we used to straighten our hair for Easter and all those different things. But yeah, we would have gel and stuff. And so I was like, well, yeah, because I need my hair to stay. They was like, so when you watch it, I'll never forget. It was this girl. I didn't even know who she was, and I was just looking at her like, "Why are you asking me?" It was like an interrogation on the playground about my hair. And I went home and was like, she kept asking me like about Black people and hair. So my mom was telling me the difference between white people hair and Black people black hair. And, we had the whole talk. And then I think it was like that same year, this boy who I remember his name, I won't say it because
put it out.
put it out there. But he called me the N word, and it was for no reason. I was just sitting there. He was just like, well, I was in the class because it was like me and maybe 2 or 3 other Black people in the class. And as soon as I heard that, I went straight to the teacher's desk. I was like, "Oh, you getting in trouble today?" And the counselor came and talked to me. He was like, "How do you feel about that? And are you okay?" And but look, I said all that to say that that unwritten, the parallel of what he gave his son with preparing him. My parents had really kind of given me that talk, but in my mind, because I had never experienced anything, I didn't believe that it would really happen because I was still young, a child. So I really didn't, and I had seen all the civil rights stuff and everything, but I just didn't believe it would happen to me because I had such great people around me who happened to be white. So when it did happen, it was like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? I'm just a little darker. Like, why are we doing this? So that's my whole spiel on that. But yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Hurt
And
my
like I
little
said,
feelings.
yeah, I think we all had those moments where we kind of just kind of identify. And like I said, I think that is one similarity that we can all share as kind of just Black Americans growing up in this country. That there's probably some overlap as far as things that we've experienced that are probably common, whether good or bad. You talking about the jam and the hair. I'm pretty sure people can relate to that. So
yeah, jam works. I still use it a little bit.
Yeah,
it will lay them edges. You don't have all the look, ladies. You don't get caked up on the side or nothing.
Not the
Jam,
edges.
like all the edge control and stuff. Go
It's
get you
that
some
Walmart.
jam. Yeah, some jam, and it's cheap and it go a long way.
look, how did this turn to a hair tutorial and
Right.
Jam
and a
sponsor us.
sponsorship?
Yeah,
Jam
jam,
sponsor us.
please
Jam
sponsor
us.
us. Jam is the bomb. It really is. It's good.
Yeah. I think for me, as I was reading this book, I really identified with just kind of the process of growing and developing. Ta-Nehisi kind of talks about just growing up in the inner city, being a boy and just trying to survive in the neighborhood. And I think we all kind of, especially for boys and men, we kind of have the experience of trying to find ourselves and just trying to stay out of trouble. But it's always around you things that may kind of come up or situations that may kind of come up. And he really kind of touched on that. I think I really kind of found some similarities with that. Like, so of course, I didn't grow up in the inner city. I'm a country boy from Mississippi, so I didn't have that experience. But just still trying to navigate life. I mean, you knew certain areas to stay away from. You knew certain people that you really shouldn't associate with, and it's really trying to find that balance. Like you kind of wanted to be cool, but you knew that sometimes the cool stuff wasn't the cool stuff to do. So just really trying to find that balance. But also really his experience as far as going to college and kind of really finding himself and really fully developing himself. And so I kind of had a similar experience as well. I was pretty well formed before I got to college, but it really kind of allowed me to really kind of stand in my truths and be more confident about myself, things that I knew to be true, and not to just be so, I guess, crowd oriented, just trying to fit in with the crowd or whatever. So I really identified and connected with that piece. You can really tell throughout this book, like him being at the Mecca, which he kind of refers to, it was really like some formidable years for him to really kind of help him develop and just kind of set a strong foundation for him and life and experience. So I kind of really connected with those two pieces, just really growing up as a young boy into manhood, and also just really being in college and kind of fine tuning yourself were kind of areas that I really identify with, that he really kind of touched on through this book. Um, so, all right, coming to Kimberly Lake next. What did you have a moment or anything that you identified with as you were listening or reading this book from Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me?
When I was listening to it, like most of the time when I was listening to the book, I was like, we're so different. Like he grew up different than me. Like I grew up in church. He went to HBCU. It was just funny how like the whole book, it was kind of refreshing to hear a different person's life. But when he talked about that twice as hard, that's something that I have experienced. And when I heard that, it took me back to college. I won't say what college, but I remember being in a class. I won't say what class, but I'll tell Larry after because we took the same class. But I remember getting to class and one of the black girls that was older than me pulled me to the side and she was like, look, you see them white girls over there? Like, you can't just sit in this class and do nothing. Like, you better go out. You have to make news packages and you have to earn your grade. And I was just like, okay. So I went out, did packages, whatever. And do you know at the end of that class, them girls got like A's. I think I got a B, but they got A's. And then afterwards, I remember one of the girls talking. She was talking to the professor, and she's like, "Yeah, I was talking about you." I was like, Kim did like really good B work this semester. So I'm like, "Wait, like you give me my grade in college?" So I just remember that. Like that's one lesson I remembered about. Like you just have to, you do like work twice as hard, just to get somewhere. So that was something I related to him about.
Okay, good. All right,
This is
coming
weird.
Isaiah.
Look, that ain't right.
So coming Isaiah, man, like you had a powerful opening. So yeah, man, just following up on that. Did you find any parallels? Especially look, you read the book 3 times. So did you identify with anything or have any parallels with your own life from reading this book?
Well, I did, but I first want to start off with that. I just like, I get excited about not just this book, but what we do as a culture of just bringing new ideas and different views and issues, and and just highlighting it from our own perspective. But from something I really identified with was his interaction with the police, and it's something that happened to me younger, but I didn't realize into what had happened till I got older about elitism and classism, and even amongst our Black community. Like, I know when I was younger, I had got stopped by the police. Me speeding, got a ticket. I'm like, Lord, this man, my dad finna kick me off his insurance. So I tried to pay. So I tried to go to court and pay. And I remind you, I'm 17 in high school, don't know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to Google and like all the facts of what's going on. But I went to court. This judge that I think he probably knew who my family was actually, dismissed the ticket basically said that, he knows somebody's up for re-election, basically try to get my family to support. And when you're younger, that's not communicating like what is he talking about? What did that mean? And and I'm trying to still hide this ticket, so I still didn't communicate that information to my parents. But as I got older, I mean, like, is he trying to, get the vote based on you're getting a ticket away from me, but you want my family to come and vote for you? But, which is, I thought what was crazy. But something I really identified with was in the book, he talked about his friend Prince Jones and his interaction with the police officer. And with Prince, he basically grew up in a predominantly white environment and was afforded, some of the best perks in life. And he still succumbed by, to his injuries to the police. And Prince Jones, this cop actually followed him through jurisdictions through a county, I think in Maryland, called Prince George County, which is actually a predominantly Black, county. And where have we heard this story before? A Black cop shoots a Black person, on the road in broad daylight. We heard this story so many times, and just losing someone to injustice and unfairness is just too common, and I think even for some of us, we have already not just experienced, but we have known somebody who has experienced, a loss of life to the police officer. And, even though Ta-Nehisi wrote this book like a long time ago, it still resonates within us all. Like, we can all identify with some aspects without the book that we can grasp a hold to. And I think like even with this system, like we not should just allow it to change, but we should be making smaller steps forward to even put that change out there, for just a better environment, not just for us, but for the people and our children that'll come behind us.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Most
good point.
definitely. That's good.
That's a good point. Yeah, even you bringing up, Prince Jones, like so we kind of talked about in our last episodes with, just and it's been a continual, just a loss of life by police officers at the hands of police officers, and like I said, he's talking about an experience that he had a long time ago, and we're still having these same experiences now. We're still having these same issues, and it's just a continual cycle. And it's like, when will it stop? When will it end?
Well,
Um, I mean, if you're talking about, you're getting a ticket from the police. Like I remember literally being pulled over, no, not pulled over, but being stopped in my driveway. Like I'm parked in my driveway, me and one of my friends,
wow.
and being stopped by the police. Um, and I'm sitting in my parents' house and like did nothing, no
Mm-hmm.
traffic violation, anything. And
Mm-hmm.
again, just these are some of the experiences that we have within this country for just being us, for doing nothing. And in this example, Prince lost his life, but like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it was for nothing. I mean, nothing. He did nothing wrong, but just a true testament of some of the experience that we have in this country as black men, as black people. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, that's good. I want to have a little open discussion, open little dialogue. What do you guys think are some of the, I guess maybe the hardships or some of the problem areas with being single in today's time? Like, is singleness hard? Is singleness hard? I know we talking about marriage be hard, but
It's
is singleness
ghetto.
hard?
It's
There
the
you go. All
hood.
right. So
I
Laria
don't
Reed,
like
come
it.
on.
It gets worse every year.
So look, tell us about that, Laria. Why do you think that? What's going on? We always hear like it's pee in the dating pool, like that.
It is. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I kid.
Yeah.
But I'm for real.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
look, yeah,
Like
serious.
for real.
yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about your perspective of singleness in today's time.
I think that, if I'm honest, I just think that our culture is dated out. Like, we've dated too many people. Like, I understand. I understand arranged marriages now, like the new arranged marriages where families like try to they like, this might be a good match for you. In Indian culture is the new way that they do it. And they'll bring somebody to their daughter and they'll see if it works out and if she likes or whatever. If not, the family goes and gets somebody else. Like, I think that's better than us doing it on our, because right now it's not working. And I feel like everybody's trying to put this, like Keisha got this, so and so got this. So if I could just put all four of them together, I could have one. Like, you're doing too much dating. It's too much. And then you start dating so many people. When this person hurts you, that person. I mean, think about it. If you 50 and single, you done dated at least two or three people in a decade. So you've been hurt at some point by somebody. And then you bring it over to me, who's sitting over here looking for a husband. Look, I'm airing out all my
I
stuff.
know.
But I'm just saying, it's like, I just feel like at this point, for females and for males, we're dating too much. It's too much. Like, there's not enough vetting going on before getting to the serious part. I feel like everybody is going too far deep in first month. Like, I'm still trying to decide if I want to go eat with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we can go get some coffee at Starbucks, but why am I going to dinner with you and getting 90 days? Y'all done slept together, y'all done did, like, that's, I mean, where is the commitment? You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like in our society, it's just, it's really weird when you really start breaking it down. And I think that everybody's trying to have fun and all this stuff, but it ain't got no longevity in it and it's not cool. So look, I don't even know what the question was. I just got on.
That's her rant.
I done
Your
forgot.
rant.
I didn't rant it for the day. But I'm just saying, I just feel like as a culture of Americans, black, white, everybody, we just doing too much. And I understand you want to date and all that. That's cool. But at some point, that y'all got to stop. Like, it's too much. It's too much. And I feel like everybody's making their own money. So nobody, and it's nothing wrong with having your own money, but that doesn't mean you don't need relationship. So, nobody wants to be told what to do when you have to submit to one another. So I just keep dating, keep dating, keep dating. It's just, like I said, that's what makes it hood and ghetto.
So singleness is the ghetto right now. Is basically what you're telling me.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, it's cool in the sense of I get to
It's
do what
cool
I
to be in
want
the
to
ghetto.
do. Yeah, it's cool to be in the ghetto. If you're trying to get married, it's a little hood. But if you're enjoying your life and traveling and doing it's cool. But if you're looking for relationship, you really got to be look going back to the Lord. You got to be in prayer and asking God to send what you need. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, woo, it's rough out here.
That's funny. Look, anybody else want to jump in on this singleness be hard topic?
I don't know how to comment after
I
that.
know. I'm like,
Well, Maria just gave her little mini rant over here,
Oh man.
saying it's hood and ghetto and
It
cool
is. And
and
cool at
hard.
it's like being black. It's dangerous, but it's lit.
Wow, I get it. I get it.
but to Laria's point, I do agree. I ain't gonna leave you out there. I do think it's funny, like when you be hearing married people talking about like thinking about single life, and you be like, look, you don't want to come
You
back out here. Like
don't do it.
stay where you at. You don't want to
Work
come
it
back out
out.
here. Work that out because it's hard out here. But like with anything in life, there's positives and negatives of things. So of course, like she said, single, if you get to travel when you want. I remember hearing like married friends being like me and Laria, we would do something with a married friend. They'd be like, "Oh, let me check my husband." I was like, "Oh, you
I'd
got
be
to."
like, what?
We can't just get up and go or go on vacation or whatever. So
Right.
getting to make your own decisions, doing what you want to do, traveling, all that kind of stuff. I think the other side is too, just with me, I'll say getting older. You're like, okay, I want somebody in life to like share all these things with one. So it's like you kind of want to start doing things with somebody or sharing things with someone. Also, I think just with me, want to have kids and a family and all this stuff. Like I went to see the Little Mermaid and I saw a little family there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like a family with their kids, like all that kind of stuff. So I think like it's plus and minuses with anything. So with singleness, I
Right.
think it's the same thing, and I just think like Maria said, just it's gonna take a lot of prayer, get you where you need to go, but a lot of faith. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. So
Okay. So look at the key word is look, singing this is hood and ghetto, and you gotta pray. You gotta stay prayed up. That's what I'm hearing from y'all.
yes,
But it's still good. It's good.
it,
You know, it has its pluses and minuses, just like
yeah,
marriage.
yeah.
You know,
All right, so look, let's hear the male perspective on this. I'm gonna let my brother kick this one off, man. I want to hear from you. We done heard from the women on Four Friends in the Book, bro. What's your thoughts about? Again, we're all unmarried, so single in that regard.
Mm.
What are your thoughts about singleness in today's time?
Well, in today's time, some I do agree to a certain extent that it is pee in the pool, but we also got filtration system to help clean up that sometimes. And I think when we start going into situations or trying to actually mingle and get to know a person, you have to go in with a clean slate. That you want to actually get to know that person, the good and the bad. You can't go in looking for all the bad. Like you have to go in, be willing and actually doing the work to actually get to that good. So once you actually find that good, I think you actually going to be striking gold. Because when in the first 3 to 6 months, a guy pretty much going to know if this is the right person for him, and that he feel that he can put the work in, that he want to spend the rest of his life with this person. And I think what I was stating earlier, like the communication, that's when the hard works begin. Like, you know, you're trying to put your life with that other person. Like, even though you're not trying to actually, I want to say, you know, conjoin at that very beginning, but you know, you're trying to actually bring that person into your world and actually trying to figure out, you know, that person in their world as well too. And I think that's the most interesting part of it. I wouldn't say singleness is all bad. Like you say, you getting to know this person, you getting to trying to figure that person out, you're getting to travel, eat, and go and do places that, you know, go to different places and experience different things with whoever you're trying to get to know. And I think, you know, that's the best part about, you know, being, you know, of trying to get to know a person. Like, you know, that's the openness of being vulnerable. And, you know, I know it's hard being vulnerable and you don't want to actually let a person into your deepest, darkest secret, but, you know, how can they actually get to know you, the real you, not the surface part of, but the real you, what makes you tick, what do you like, what don't enjoy, if you let you being vulnerable with that person. So I think it's good and bad in each situation, but you also got to go in looking for the good and maintain and actually putting in the work to actually keep that good and keep going with it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah,
And let me
that
say,
is good.
look, I got one more little thing, and I'm gonna be done for real.
Go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
One more thing. But like with what I've noticed, even with the book, they got married younger.
Mhm.
And I think when you're in your earlier years, now I'm in my 40s, so I understand if I would have gotten married in my 20s, I would have probably had those issues plus some because and like this goes back to what Isaiah said, you have to know who you are as a person and be whole as a person before you can be with someone else. And I think that's one of the issues with the singleness as well. And even with marriages, it goes back to, are you content in who you are? Are you good with your purpose? Do you know why you're here? Because when you go outside of that and you don't know, somebody in a relationship starts having an issue because it's like, I enjoy doing this and I enjoy, well, now you don't need me anymore. You don't want me, da 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 da. And it's like, and she even talked about that. Melissa, she said his career started taking off and she's like, well, what about me? Because, my life isn't like that. But she had to find out who she was more so that she could be satisfied in herself. And I think that that's the biggest thing now, even in dating and in marriages. If you really look at it, somebody's got an issue with the other person because of their not being whole in who they are and being good with them. So I think that's something that you just got a whole bunch of half people looking for somebody to validate them when another person can't do that. That has to come from you.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's it. I'm done.
That's good.
I'm done.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode that we actually gave you. Please tune into our next book, Jada Pinkett Smith, Worthy.
Absolutely. And as always, let's continue to read, let's learn, let's grow. Let's have a discussion here on Four Friends in a Book. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.